There's a kind of knowledge that doesn't come from a classroom. It comes from early mornings, muddy boots, and being handed a real task before you're old enough to question it. From watching someone do a thing 100 times and then doing it yourself. From getting it wrong and trying again the next morning. There are 10 things that every farm kid used to know by heart, not from a textbook, not from a YouTube video, from living it daily and without a second thought. Today, we're bringing those 10 things back. Welcome back to Manual Roots, where we dig up the skills, mindsets, and knowledge that kept people going before the modern world made everything convenient and quietly a little fragile. If you're new here, this channel is about getting those things back, practically, one skill at a time. Let's get into it. Number 10. How to read an animal's body language. A farm kid didn't need a veterinarian to tell them something was wrong with an animal. They could see it. They knew that a cow standing apart from the herd, ears back, not grazing, that was a cow in trouble. They knew that a hen puffed up and still on a roost in the afternoon wasn't resting, she was sick. They knew the difference between a horse that was nervous and a horse that was calm, between a dog that was playing and a dog that was saying, "Back off." This wasn't a special gift. It was observation, close, daily, practiced observation of creatures whose well-being was tied directly to the family's survival. Every domesticated animal has a vocabulary of posture, sound, and behavior. Ears, eyes, tail position, gait, breathing, vocalizations, all of it communicates. Farm kids learned to read that language the way city kids learned to read traffic. And here's the remarkable thing, it transferred. People raised around animals tend to be better at reading people too. The same attentiveness, the same patience with nonverbal communication, the same habit of watching before speaking. It shapes how you navigate the world. We've moved almost entirely to a life where animals are invisible to daily routine. And in the process, we've become a little less fluent in the oldest language there is. Number 9. How to know when something is about to break, before it does. There's a skill with no formal name, but every farm kid had it. Call it mechanical intuition. Call it preventive attention. A fence post that looks straight but rocks slightly when you press it. That's a post that will be down in the next hard rain. A rope that's fraying at one spot. That's a rope that will snap at the worst moment if you don't replace it now. A wheel on a cart that wobbles just slightly more than last week. That's worth stopping to look at. Farm kids developed this because the consequences of being wrong were real and immediate. Equipment that failed during planting or harvest wasn't an inconvenience. It could cost a family their season. Animals in distress didn't wait for a convenient moment. So they learned to notice, to take seriously the small signals that come before large failures, to trust that feeling of something being slightly off, not because of superstition, but because that feeling was built from thousands of hours of paying close attention. That habit of noticing, catching the small warning before it becomes a crisis, transfers to almost every area of life. Farm kids were trained in it by necessity. Most of us were never trained in it at all. Number 8. How to work alongside someone without being told every step. This one sounds simple until you've worked alongside someone who doesn't have it. On a farm, you learn to read a task. When two people are stacking hay, one person doesn't need to narrate every move. You read the rhythm and match it. When someone is wrestling a fence post into the ground, you don't ask what to do, you pick up the tamping bar. When the look on someone's face tells you a situation just got serious, you don't wait to be assigned a job. Farm kids developed this through years of working alongside adults in real situations with real stakes. They learned to read context, to see what needed doing and do it without being asked, to be a true partner in hard work. Employers across every industry consistently say this is one of the hardest qualities to find in the modern workforce. It can't be taught in a classroom. It's built through years of meaningful work done alongside people who model it. The farm built this without trying. Most of us have to try to build it on purpose now. Number 7. How to compost and return things to the earth. Before synthetic fertilizer, before garden centers, before the bag of soil amendment at the hardware store, farmers fed their land with what the land gave back. Farm kids knew that waste wasn't waste. Kitchen scraps, animal manure, straw bedding, fallen leaves, spent plants from last season's garden, all of it had a destination, and that destination was the compost pile. They knew how to layer it, how to turn it, how to read whether it was breaking down the right way. They knew the difference between compost that was working and compost that had gone wrong, and how to fix it. This knowledge represented something deeper than technique. It was a relationship with cycles, the understanding that healthy land is a loop, not a line. That what you take out, you must put back. That the fertility of next year's garden lives in how you treat this year's scraps. We have built a civilization of straight lines: extract, consume, discard. The composting mindset says something different. Nothing is finished, everything returns. The loop must close. That's not just good gardening, it's a way of seeing the world that we genuinely need right now. Number 6. How to save and select seed. Before seed catalogs, before the commercial seed industry, before a handful of corporations came to control most of the world's seed supply, farmers grew next year's crop from this year's harvest. Farm kids knew how to select the best specimens for seed. Not randomly, but deliberately. The strongest plants, the ones that matured earliest, the ones that made it through the dry stretch or the late frost. They knew how to dry seed properly, how to store it through winter so it stayed viable, how to test germination rates before spring planting. That knowledge represented something important: independence. A family that controlled its own seed supply could not be locked out of growing food. A family entirely dependent on purchased seed every year was one supply chain disruption away from not being able to plant. Today, saving seed is making a quiet comeback. Seed libraries are growing. Seed swaps are spreading. People are rediscovering old varieties that commercial agriculture abandoned and finding that some of those varieties are better suited to their local conditions than anything in a modern catalog. It starts with knowing how to save one seed and keep it alive through winter. Your great-grandparents' great-grandparents knew how. The knowledge is still there, waiting to be picked back up. We're halfway through, and I want to say something directly. None of these things require you to have grown up on a farm. Every single one of them is learnable as an adult, in a suburb, with a regular job and a phone in your pocket. What they require is the decision that this kind of knowledge matters, that capability matters, that knowing how to do real practical things is worth some of your time. Let's keep going. Number 5. How to read soil. Every farm kid knew the difference. They could take a handful of earth and tell you things about it, whether it was sandy and would drain too fast, whether it was heavy clay that would compact and choke roots, whether it smelled alive, that dark, rich, earthy smell that means microbial activity, organic matter, genuine fertility, whether it was dry and crusted in a way that meant water would run off instead of soak in. Farm kids understood that healthy soil was a living ecosystem, billions of organisms in a single teaspoon, all doing work that made plants possible. They knew what their land needed, whether it needed compost, whether it needed rest, whether a cover crop would bring back what the last harvest took out. We've treated soil at an industrial scale like a medium to hold plants upright while we pour chemistry into it. We've lost roughly a third of the world's arable topsoil in the last century and a half. The knowledge of how to read and tend soil, how to farm with it rather than against it, is one of the most important things we could recover, not just for backyard gardens, but for the civilization-level challenge of feeding people without destroying the ground beneath us. Number 4. How to identify plants, wild and cultivated. A farm kid walking through a field wasn't just walking, they were reading. They knew which weeds were edible and which were useful. They knew that plantain, the low, broad-leafed weed in almost every lawn, could be used as a poultice on a bee sting, that dandelion greens were food and dandelion roots were medicine, that stinging nettles, handled right, were more nutritious than spinach. They knew their crop plants at every stage, what a healthy seedling looked like versus a struggling one, what a plant looked like when it needed water versus when it had too much. This kind of botanical literacy was survival knowledge, knowing what you could eat in a pinch, what was medicinal, what was poisonous, what was a weed worth pulling, and what was a weed worth keeping. All of it was part of a farm kid's basic education. We have inherited a world where most people cannot identify the plants growing in their own yards, where foraging sounds exotic and vaguely risky, when for most of human history it was simply called eating. Learning to identify even a dozen common plants, their uses, their seasons, their relationships to the soil, reconnects you to the landscape in a way that's hard to describe until you've felt it. Number 3. How to track the seasons and plan ahead. Farm kids didn't experience the calendar the way most of us do today, as a series of appointments. They experienced it as a rhythm, a cycle with weight and consequence. They knew the last frost date for their region the way you know your own address. They knew that if you didn't start seedlings indoors by a certain week, you'd miss your window. That certain root vegetables needed to go in while the soil was still cold. That the window between last frost and first frost, that precious growing season, had to be used deliberately, not casually. This was forward thinking made concrete and practical. Every action in spring was taken with fall in mind. Every decision about what to plant was shaped by what you needed to have stored by winter. The farm taught children to think in long arcs, not just today, not just this week, but across a whole season and into the next. That habit of thinking ahead, of connecting today's small actions to tomorrow's real consequences, is one of the most valuable things a person can develop. And it used to be built naturally in children by the simple act of growing food. Number 2. How to handle your own fear. Farms are not always comfortable places. They weren't meant to be. A farm kid who was nervous around a large animal still had to be in the pasture with that animal. A kid who didn't love getting muddy still had to help when the irrigation ditch needed clearing. A kid who found a task hard or unfamiliar still had to try, because the work needed doing, and they were part of the family that did it. Over time, farm kids learned something essential, that discomfort is not the same as danger, that you can feel uncertain and do the thing anyway, that the other side of something challenging is competence, and competence is the best antidote to fear that exists. Psychologists call this distress tolerance, the ability to feel something uncomfortable and choose your behavior anyway. It is one of the most important capacities a person can develop, and it used to be built naturally in the ordinary course of a childhood that included hard, real, demanding things. We have worked very hard to engineer difficulty out of childhood, with the best intentions, but the farm built resilience without trying. We have to try to build it on purpose now. Number 1. How to be a steward of something. Last one, and this one sits underneath all the others. Farm kids knew they were caretakers, not owners in the way we use that word today, not people who could extract whatever they wanted because something belonged to them, but stewards. The land had been worked by their grandparents. It would be worked by their children. Their job was to hand it over in better shape than they received it. That mindset shaped everything: how they treated the soil, how they cared for the animals, how they maintained the tools and the fences and the buildings, how they thought about what they were leaving behind. It's a profoundly different relationship to the world than the consumer culture we live in today, which tells us constantly to get as much as we can, as fast as we can. The steward mindset says something quieter. Slow down. You are not the only one this has to work for. You are not the last one who will need this. That mindset built lasting things. Farms that fed families for generations, communities that held together through hard times, a relationship with land and life that gave people a reason to take care of what they had. Farm kids learned it before they could put it into words. We're going to have to learn it on purpose. 10 things, all of them learnable, all of them filmable, all of them alive in the hands of any kid willing to get a little dirty. The farm didn't just produce food, it produced a certain kind of person, someone with careful hands, a reading eye, a long view, and a sense of responsibility that reached beyond themselves. That person is still possible. The knowledge hasn't gone anywhere, it's just been waiting for someone to pick it back up. Which of these hit you hardest? Let us know in the comments. If you want to know more about things that will keep you alive when the grid fails, click here. If this landed for you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And subscribe if you haven't yet. Until then, this is Manual Roots. See you in the next one.